while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. It's hard to wrap our head around his love for us until there's times where we just mess up so much and then we encounter his love.
Some folks may not understand or even fully support the level of forgiveness and love that Michele had for her husband in the midst of an abusive relationship while he was still ministering on the outside at a prison ministry and being a youth pastor. But God did something radical and gave Michele his heart, her incredible story, and what she ended up doing that did save their marriage. Here is Tommy and Michele Hunter of Long Beach City Church.
Met on a Christian dating site, christiancafe.com. There's your plug, Christian Cafe. Our first date, we went out for sushi, had an amazing time. Found out that we knew so many of the same people. We actually grew up around the same people,
That's right.
But yet we never met. And once you hear the story, you'll understand why it's probably a good thing we never met. It's because we were both crazy. We probably would have killed each other then. And,
I definitely would have taken him out. Yep.
We only dated for 4 months, and then we decided to get married. We were a blended family, so we brought it all together real quick.
He had promised that he would be my Boaz, that he would, take care of me, and my life would be completely different. And it was in a very negative way.
A lot of things. A month after we got married, Michele lost her job, and then a couple months later, I lost my job, and I didn't know how to handle that stress. I had never dealt with the anger inside of me. I was a Christian too, but I had never dealt with this rage and this anger that was inside of me. So a lot of what she says about, life changed for the negative was a lot because of the fact that I was a mess. I learned a lot of religion, but never really understood and learned relationship, you know, so.
We were only married for, 3 or 4 weeks when he came home one day and just didn't like something I said and just lost his mind. I mean, just threw this crazy temper tantrum and was raging and was screaming at me about divorce. And I just couldn't believe. I was really in a state of desperation. I couldn't believe that I had got myself into this situation because I come from very abusive relationships. So here I am thinking, I married this Christian man who's going to be my Boaz and who's going to, because he's a Christian, going to be, an amazing husband, and it just wasn't that way at all.
They got to the point where we even got into ministry shortly after that.
Yeah.
We were part of a mega church, and they all thought we were like these model Christians. And I would get up and I'd preach, and we'd have an altar full of people, and it was just an amazing ministry. But then I would go home, and I'd be a complete raging jerk to my family. So. Yeah, no, it was with my mouth. As big as I am, I never really liked to physically fight, but I would rip you to shreds with my mouth. That was the one thing, and I learned that growing up. It was my environment. It's what I knew. My parents or the people I hung out with were very verbal, and so I guess I did it with excellence, so to speak. You
did.
I perfected how to rip people apart.
My 2 daughters lived with us, and we were constantly in a state of just walking on eggshells, not knowing what was going to set him off, and it was always very unstable, not knowing when we were going to get kicked out, or if he was going to take the car keys, or when he would take the bank cards, or, it was very volatile.
Yeah, that was the other thing, is I was so controlling. Like, I wanted to be in control of everything because I was so out of control internally that on the external, I wanted to control everything externally. It was just this weird dynamic of life. We've kind of taken a look at, we've connected the dots in both of our lives to kind of see where we've come from and how we got to where we were. And, I grew up in a home where my mom wasn't married, and I watched men abuse her physically, verbally, and then throughout, my teenage years, my tween years, I saw so much violence and so much anger in our house that it was just, I adopted that. It became who I was. That was my identity, so to speak. And I recognized that what I learned is that it was okay to abuse women. It was okay to use them as an object because there was a lot of infidelity in our home as well. And so this was normal life to me. In my subconscious, that's what I thought. And on the outside, I was like, how can this ever be happening? Mm-hmm. And I couldn't escape it. Even after getting saved, I kind of suppressed it, I thought, oh, I'm saved now. Everything's going to be cool. And man, I burned relationship after relationship, you know, even including my kids, and then eventually, you know, my relationship with Michele.